Welcome back to the channel. My name is Silver Augustine. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video, especially if you're new. Hit that like button if you like the video, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and come back for more. I post every 2 weeks on Tuesday, so hopefully you can come back and stay tuned. Today I will be discussing the gold-silver ratio, what it means and why it's important. So I have pulled up a chart here of the current gold-silver ratio. Right now, it is sitting at 84.53. Now, this has been somewhat consistent. There was a little bit of a hike and a drop right around election time, but for the most part, it's been sitting kind of around 80, the low 80s more recently. If we take a look here at year to date between January and December of this year, in May, it went down as low as 73.01, and that was easily the lowest, but it's been up at and over 90 several different times, as you can see here. High 80s. So this year it's averaged around the low 80s, at least year to date. Now if we take a look back at the last 3 months, it has again been up to 88.61, which is almost 90, and then it's been down as low as 78. So it has fluctuated a little bit more in the last 3 months, and if you take a look here, the last month, 83 was the low point, and the high point was 87. So this month has been sitting around the mid 80s. So that ought to give you an idea as far as recent times, what we're looking at. 84.56 is about average for this year. Now, if we take back this chart all the way to 1993, we see that the gold-silver ratio has been up to all the way at 111.71, and that was during the pandemic, so it was a very abnormal time. And if we go back to April of 2011, during the Eurozone debt crisis, we see the silver-gold ratio is down as low as 34.77, which in the last 30 years, that is the lowest that it has been. And subsequently at that time, silver had reached almost $50 an ounce, which it has not seen since. So if we take a look at the current gold price, $2,661.17 is spot on gold at the time of this recording. If you look at the year-to-date price, we can see that gold started the year quite a bit lower than it is going to end it, and that's typical for gold. Before the election, it was almost closing at $2,800 an ounce, but earlier in the year, during February, March, it actually closed below $2,000, so quite a jump. And when we shift over to silver, obviously quite a big difference in price per ounce. $31.47 an ounce is currently what the price of silver is. At the beginning of this year, it was hovering in the low 20s. 22 was about what it was averaging for the first couple of months. But now we have peaked over 30, and we've stayed consistently over 30 for a while now. So now I'm going to speak a little bit on what exactly the gold-silver ratio is, why it's important, and there are a lot of things that affect the price of gold and the price of silver. I'm going to list a few of them at the bottom of the screen as I talk about it. There are more than this. There are a lot of factors that affect precious metals, and the more you research, the more you realize there's more that we don't even know. A lot of stuff behind the scenes, but I'm going to try to wrap it up pretty succinctly in this video for you. So defined simply, the gold-silver ratio is how many ounces of silver does it take to be able to purchase an ounce of gold, or according to the price per ounce, how many ounces of silver would be equal to 1 ounce of gold in fiat currency. My local coin shop allows me to go in and do even barter trades with him. If I walk in with an ounce of gold, he will give me pretty close to whatever the silver gold ratio is. He will give me in silver ounces, and he'll usually let me pick whether I get rounds or bars or coins or whatever the case is. Obviously, he's got to be able to make a premium on those, so it's not always exact. But people like to use this method when stacking to either pile up on silver when the price of silver is really low, and then when the price of silver increases, if gold has not followed in the increase, then they'll go in sometimes and trade their silver in for gold, and they'll actually get more gold one day than they would have if they had tried to trade the silver in for gold a month earlier, or 2 months earlier, or a year earlier, or however long they want to hold it. This is a method that I think is very viable. It can allow you to grow your stack and grow the value of your stack without ever actually having to exchange fiat currencies. You can just walk in, set down a gold coin and walk out with 80 silver coins, or you can walk in and set down 80 silver coins and turn around and walk out with 1 gold coin. So that's what the gold-silver ratio is, and that's one method that people use when they stack to increase their stack, or to even change metals if they don't necessarily even want to hold silver for a long time until it's worth a lot, or if they don't want to hold gold for a long time. Sometimes they just decide that they'd prefer to have more gold, or they'd prefer to have more silver, and they'll go do an even trade without the market fluctuating. Just depends on your preferences and what your stacking desires are. A lot of people will look back over the last few years, over the last 50 years, 100 years, the entirety of civilization, and people will come up with a gold-silver ratio that they think, hey, this is probably about fair. This is about what gold is worth. This is about what silver is worth, according to history anyways. And if the gold-silver ratio is a little bit above that or a little bit below that, they'll decide, hey, I'm only going to stack silver right now because the gold-silver ratio is a little high or it's a little low. I'm only going to stack gold right now because I don't like the way that the markets are valuing silver or the way that they're valuing gold. And so they'll use the gold-silver ratio to kind of figure out what they think is being overpriced currently or what's being undervalued. If you're stacking for the long game, it's not usually going to be a bad idea to go buy gold or buy silver, regardless of what the ratio is. But it's pretty hard to argue that there are times where it would be noticeably a better buy to buy one or the other. If we look here, the historical average for the gold-silver ratio is roughly 15 to 1. Now that's as far back as we can record. The 100-year average is roughly 40 to 1. So according to the last 100 years, the gold-silver ratio, if gold and silver are being fairly priced in the market, would be about 40. Right now it's 84. Now hopefully it makes you feel a little bit better that since the 1970s, the average has actually been closer to 65. So many things going on currently and presently to manipulate the markets. Silver is considered to be highly undervalued right now. If you look at the historical price of silver per ounce and then you look at it today, if you account for inflation, silver still has a long way to go before it reaches its all-time high. And that's why the gold-silver ratio is as high as it is right now. If you account for inflation, silver could technically be valued at $150 if it went to its all-time high accounted for inflation. If you did the math on that, according to gold's current price, if silver was to go up to its all-time high accounted for inflation, the gold-silver ratio would be closer to 18 to 1. And we all know that's not happening anytime soon. I'm going to wrap up the video there. There's a lot more information I could have put in this video. If you have any suggestions, please put it in the comments below. I feel like these more informative charts and graphs videos could be a little bit dry, and I don't want them to be. So if you have another topic or another subject, or if you actually did enjoy this video in this format, then please let me know in the comments. Give me some feedback, and I'll know what to do next time. If you have any ideas for a video, put those down below. Any suggestions to make my content better, I will absolutely be reading and replying. Thank you so much for watching the video if you made it to the end. You have a good day, and I do appreciate your time.